Belmont existed as a critical institution in the DC area. It was a destination point for people seeking art, craft, creativity to travel to it on the weekend. The Columbia Roads area was already a cultural destination, lots of restaurants, shops, boutiques, bookstores. So this was just adding to the mix. And when you added up the number of different kinds of artists and designers, whether it were fashion, art galleries, I had a leather store there was an antiquarian, somebody was selling crystals and incense. I mean, over that decade, 20 different enterprises cycled through there, each of them staying, sometimes 2 years, sometimes 7. A couple of people stayed the entire time. But through the process, we created families and friendships. Our kids would hang out there during the weekends, running up and down stairs, in and out of rooms. People would come there to see one person at about 11 o'clock, and when we were closing the building, they would still be there. I didn't mean to stay here all day, but I got caught up talking to so-and-so upstairs, and then we went. So we understood halfway into the process, this was really, for many people, a healing experience. And that they came there under the guise of shopping, under the guise of buying something, but it was really to replenish their spirit that had been depleted the week before through the trials and tribulations of their everyday life. But they could come to Belmont, and it was a sanctuary. You can come in there and tell your story, get it off your chest, soak up some creativity, have intelligent and thought-provoking conversations. And you would meet people there who you would never meet anywhere else. You would run into somebody, even in DC, you hadn't seen in 20 years. And just the intersection that both of you at the same time would be happening to come to that place. And you'd been in this city for 10 years and had never bumped into each other. So it was those kinds of junctions. And we understood also about our role as artists, that it was not just about our art, that we were healers. And so we took that to heart. And we studied our art more seriously in terms of the iconography of it, the color rendition, I guess the professional presentation of it. We began to have conversations amongst ourselves in terms of, well, what is it that we're really doing? I know it looks like this, but it's much, much deeper than this. And it's that spirit of connectivity, of consciousness raising that we did amongst ourselves, understanding our role as central to the community that produced 1800 Belmont Arts. And this is simply a reunion of that energy, of that spirit, and of that community. I think the behind-the-scenes significance of Belmont was that these were artists who were stepping out on the limb of entrepreneurship, because you had to pay your rent, so you couldn't just create. You had to create and sell your work. You had to create and market your work. So what evolved was a whole universe of skill sets about how you do that, how you create events, how you promote them, how you graphically design them, how you conceptualize sales and marketing opportunities that would attract people into your space so you can make the sale. Belmont Arts was a 3-story building that had no street level presence. So we had to attract people to the building. It's not like passers-by would just happen up there. So every enterprise would create an opening, a showing, a reception, some kind of a themed event. And they were like, over the decade, there were like hundreds of these things. And each one of them had its impact and reverberation. We would group up, 2 or 3 of the enterprises would group up and do a presentation. And even though it was those 3 who are doing it, everybody in the building would benefit from the traffic. Because if I invited my customer to the building, hey, they had already patronized me, they would go downstairs and hit somebody else up. So we realized that there was a collaboration in the process. And we each had different skill sets. One sister would do the graphics, I would do the writing and develop the language for it. But it was always important to me that we were the first generation of African American artists to sustain ourselves through our creativity. And it was so important for me that legacy continue and that we do it properly. So I brought a lot of PR skills and marketing skills to the table that I had developed in another career to make certain that we presented ourselves on a certain level that would appeal to a customer, that people had to look up to our work instead of looking down at it, that they had to respect it, and that we had to demand and command a price commensurate with the creativity that we had invested. So there were so many of those conversations that took place, and we all learned from each other.
We became a part of 1800 Belmont Arts, and we were a family. We became a family. As artists, we all share the same passion, and that's creating.
And since 1982, my wife and I both have been pursuing and enjoying this journey together. And we've been so fortunate to meet up with such a wonderful group of artists through the years, and that the spirit has guided us to this point. And we find that we don't want to sound cliche-ish, but we're truly blessed.
Yes, we are.
And we have love, love, love.
I left DC maybe 15 years ago. I live in North Carolina. But you know, I still travel a certain circuit of wearable artists, visual artists, who travel the country doing events and festivals, marketing our work. So you know, I kind of understand show and event production. I've done and created a lot of festival events. Even while we were here in DC before Belmont, the reason Belmont was possible was because we had done group organizing years before. And since 1980, we started organizing groups to do collective shows. So this was a template that already existed. It was simply a matter of plugging people back in. We used Belmont and the reunion as kind of the hook because Belmont has such a cachet in this area. So we knew it would appeal to an audience that already existed. And so we, from that premise, layered stuff on top of it. One, we wanted to commemorate our colleagues who had made their transition. So there was an ancestral commemoration part of it. We wanted to really celebrate Belmont as an experience. So we came up with this idea, Belmont Revisited, and that became an installation of photography and graphics, some of the flyers and invitations we used and photographs of events from Belmont, and that occupies one space in the room. There's always been this kind of separation between fine art and functional art, fine art and craft, and we've always fused them. We've always brought the two together. So we have a traditional gallery exhibition, but we have traditional marketplace artists in the gallery. We have a traditional marketplace showroom environment, but we have fine artists in the showroom. So it's seamless and it's all connected, and people get the connectivity because the issue is living with art. That's what we're communicating to our patrons. How do you live with art, and what does it mean to live with art? One of my peeves is I don't think artists do enough to communicate to their patrons what it is they do and who it is that they are as artists. I think there's a timidity about actually stepping up and having that honest conversation, because artists know that they are spirit-gifted magicians. They know that they have the power to transform people's reality. They know this because of life experience. They know because they have healed people through their art. They know that when you put a certain painting on your wall, that like radiation, it doses everyone who comes in your house. It's like 24/7, 365 day a year, year after year after year, energy that emanates in your entire environment. We know who we are. We've never had that conversation with our audience. So they have a Western conceptualization of an artist, and we have an new African, grounded, spiritually connected, heritage-linked connection with who we are. In this modern time, we're bringing that ancestry, we're bringing that history into the present. So we are the new Africans. You know, no, we weren't born in Africa, but Africa was born in us. And we're here to claim that legacy. Furthermore, I have the perspective that artists, by right, are the leaders of the African community, and that politicians are simply sitting on the throne that we have vacated, and we need to reclaim it and send them back to the margins where they belong, instead of us presuming that we are marginalized. And so galvanizing this energy, part of the process of bringing all of this and all these people together was to create that critical mass of cultural power that could be directed towards a number of different purposes. That's one of them. The main one, though, is to identify the next generation of ourselves who are out here already that we're not connected with, and to give to them this legacy, to give to them the platforms, the resources, the environments, the skill sets that we have accumulated over these decades, so that they can begin here instead of having to recreate any of this, so that they can be fully resourced and supported and empowered on their journey. So that's the legacy. That's why we call it the Belmont Legacy, because we are constantly designing a process to pass the baton to the next generation so that they can run their lap and that we can really win this race. We don't want to just show up and compete. We aim for the ring. We want the whole championship. We want global domination, you know, through art. We want to take the whole piece off. We're not just, you know, playing with this thing. We know who we are. We know what our power is. And like I said, we've let the politicians run. They've elected a president. Hooray. Okay, sit down. It's our turn. Now watch us. You know?
It makes me feel good when a customer can actually connect with the artwork, and actually, before I even open my mouth, they can tell me exactly what I did as far as the message is concerned, and the conscious message that I sent, as well as the heartfelt message that I've sent to them, because they're able to tell me exactly what it is that I've done. Not dealing with the medium, but where my heart, my head, and my spirit was at the time of producing it. I remember doing a piece called Visions at Extavies, and a lady who was in her 90s saw the message in that piece and ended up purchasing it. When I did that and sold to a young person, I knew that I was truly doing what I was supposed to do, because I had reached both spectrums of the human existence, the youth and the elders.
I do custom-made garments, and a young lady came to me and said she could not find anything to wear. She cried so hard because she thought there was nothing could be made for her. She told everybody at the wedding how happy she was that she had a friend, a co-worker, that was able to help her find the dream gown that she wanted, and it made my day. I've made clothes for many people, especially this guy and my children. He's my model, and he makes me feel good. where he puts his items on and where he's wearing one of my items as well as I. But he always shares, and that's one of the best things about being married, being a dressmaker, and being married to an artist.
My interest is pulling in the diaspora. And it's been an experience in which we've collaborated and we felt that we were part of a family doing things. And we miss that kind of energy so much. And this has been a wonderful idea of getting it back together and promoting it in the second generation. So we want to see this continuing.
This is a linoleum plate which creates relief prints. Have my hand to gouge, the tool used to carve the plates. My culture, my spirit, my philosophy, all impact and influence what I do. George Shamari Smith, printmaker, mixed media artist.
I make sterling silver, semi-precious stone jewelry. I like to use very natural materials and materials that are created like resin. I carve, I drill, I use old metals to create whatever look that I'm feeling or whatever I'm going with at the moment. My name is Tite, my business is Sister Fire Creations.
I express myself by letting the artist's pure spirit show through, that there's no selfish egos or wants in the studio, and that I keep my audience entertained as well as myself. My name is Hampton Opus, artist.
Hi, fabric is my passion. As a child, I love fabric. It's a form of my canvas, and it makes me happy to create. My name is Susan Opus.
I infuse my work with many elements, many mediums. A piece here we have with horn, mammoth ivory, sterling, crystal beads. I also use ebony. I use a multitude of woods from around the world, many stones, and just beautiful pieces that I find in nature. I would like to invite you to enjoy my work, which is infused through the beauty and elegance that we represent as a people. My name is Akosua Bandeli.